with this guy, because also, you know, it's like my flags always go up when it's a Hollywood person calling me. It's like, oh, you know, they don't really love comics. They just want to do something that's going to make a movie or something sometime along the way, or whatever the deal is, right? And the more I got to know the guy, you know, and saw his library of books, his library of sci-fi and fantasy art books and comics was almost as large as mine, you know. So and we started hitting it off. So that's where Anomaly came from. So we started Anomaly Productions. This was our first book, Anomaly, longest original full-color graphic novel ever done. It's big enough that it can be used as an offensive weapon. It can stop most small bladed edge weapons as well. We also, in taking this thing around for the last, since this came out in 2012. 2012, we've had the Anomaly workout program now, because it's like 12.5 pounds. We have biceps, we have triceps.
Hey, it's working. Is this the first augmented reality thing you've done too?
This was the very first augmented reality book, and I'll show that off. So big, widescreen, stochastic screened, printed. You know, this is like every artist's dream, is to be able to do a huge landscape book, but no one will let you. It was my company, so I could. And if that's not widescreen enough for you, of course. But that's not all.
You didn't do that because you misplaced a spread, did you?
Hey, I wouldn't put that past me, but I didn't. But beyond that, when we were about a year into it, there started to be this thing called augmented reality. But at the time, you needed to have obvious QR codes, you know, and they impeded on the whole design aspect of it and everything. We were like, yeah, we're not going to do that kind of thing. A year into it, they changed the software development kit, and so the image could then be recognized by the software, and it could trigger the augmented reality. When this launched, it had 20 augmented reality pages in it. It has been updated, 5 times since launch. It now has 60 augmented reality pages in it. It makes it the only graphic novels in existence to grow after publication.
Are you the one that does all the augmented stuff?
Yeah, we do it all in-house.
Yeah.
So this was like our first test on it. We're like, there's no trouble. Don't be a troublemaker.
You want me to hold it up so it doesn't...
Is the glare on the book? Oh, there we go.
So this was just our ode to a pop-up book. This was actually our very first physical test of the process. We're like, okay, we can do it. So everything on the inside is fully interactive.
Do you compose the music and stuff too?
We bought the music. So there's the insect guy on the page. There's the insect guy on the page. He's a warrior. You poke him, he'll warn you off, and then he will start poking you back. There's also another 100 pages of appendice information that's in the app that's not in the actual book. So it tells you all about the different characters and stuff.
That looks like a ton of work.
It is.
Just checking. But it's cool. It's awesome.
The app itself will tell you which pages are interactive, so there's no hunting and picking. And when you get an update, you'll see, oh, there's new ones. Okay, so let me check out a new one. Okay, you know, I'll show you that one.
Watch out.
And either a lot of people, you know, put their hands into the pictures and stuff, and you can kind of play with them, you tell them right. I lose more iPads that way. So this has 60 pages like that in it.
And you keep adding to it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, though we're doing now, which you weren't around at the Diamond Conference, so you don't know. You didn't see my presentation.
I was goofing off somewhere.
Anomaly 2
Yeah.
will be out in July of next year. And for comic book store owners, it's going to be exclusive to comic book stores for the first 3 months of release. You cannot get it on Amazon, you can't get it anywhere else.
Okay, cool.
So only comic book stores can sell it. So, anyway, so that was Anomaly. And we're like, okay, so that went well, and it did well. We sold about 10,000 of these things. We were #1 rated. We also did a...
What's the SRP on that?
75. Yeah, 75 initially, I think. But we also did At the same time, because we wanted it to be available on all kinds of different platforms, so we also did a voice-acted app of it with parallax animation and all kinds of. We had 16 voice actors doing 160 speaking parts. This was the #1 graphic novel app for several weeks. It had, I think it's up to like probably 750,000 downloads for this thing. So like start chapter. I don't need the tutorial. Guys don't have tutorials. Okay.
Prologue.
We need to. So we have the music, full parallax, full page, which I like seeing the full page first.
Just like it does almost every night. Cestus Prime. Standard
little
first
parallax
contact
animation
mission for
to it.
conglomerate specs.
The other thing I like to call these the Marvel Comics old editorial notes on steroids. So these little spheres that come up,
CSV Verdo class.
you can spin it, go through all the information and specs on the spaceship.
Wow. Did you write all that stuff, or did you?
That was Francis,
CSV Herald class.
the right-hand guy.
How long did it take you to do such a massive project like this?
3 years.
Is it, huh?
3 years. 3 years. So again, I like seeing the whole page, especially too. This was originally designed that way.
Living time and time
Whole
again,
page,
ready
then
for
we'll go
anything.
The other thing I think we did that was interesting is we've designed an interface that you can have it be directed where you're advancing it as you want to, auto mode where it's playing and doing it all to itself for you, okay? Or free where you can go in and start zooming in and all this stuff like that, so you can consume it any way you want to consume it. You can turn off the words, you can turn off the voice, you can turn on and off the music, you can turn off anything else. You have all the extras too, the extra things that are in there, like our wonderful size chart. But this did very, very, very well.
Yeah.
You know,
No, it's immersive. It's totally immersive, I would say.
Yeah, and we had really good. The guy actually, who's John, is the main voice announcer for Colbert's show.
He's on this?
Yeah, and he's also my captain in Faster Than Light as well. So that was Anomaly, and then the next one to come out, we went with and did Shifter.
I don't think I saw Shifter.
Shifter is basically a contemporary, Hitchcock thriller with a sci-fi twist, where the guy eventually gets the ability to become any animal from history, and he uses these animals to figure out why he was framed and how he was framed, and eventually sort of deal with the bad guys. That's currently in development as a VR project, because the guy can become any animal. So when you get in the animals, you taste, touch, feel those animals. It's one of the very few sort of organic progressions into VR that you can do with any story out there. Because like we're also doing one with Anomaly, but it's more like, oh, it's like a game. You know, it's not part of the story. It's not organic. You know, with Shifter, it's organic. So Shifter was our second graphic novel, and
Did you conceptualize that one and everything yourself?
yeah, it's me and Brian Haberlin on that one. And then the book that I've wanted to do since 1992, Faster Than Light. So Faster Than Light, as opposed to these other ones that are all painted and stuff like that, these are all, pen and ink lines. This is my pen and ink work. These are my words, writer and artist on these guys. This is 10 issues. We have 2 trades that have come out. Well, actually, the second trade comes out. Look, the second trade. No, it's not.
We're looking into the future here.
We have the second trade. Second trade, we have 10 regular issues, and then that was so Shifter, and again, this is good for creative because this goes on the business side of things. Shifter and Anomaly were both fully from Anomaly Productions. Okay? Because they're original graphic novels. At the time, Image did not have the sales force to drive original graphic novels.
So that went straight to graphic novel.
They're straight to graphic novels. And we went with Ingram Publisher Services, and they have a sales force of 250 people. Diamond had a sales force in the bookstores of 3 for the entire nation. So it kind of made sense for that. But when I wanted to go back and do comics again, it was stupid of me not to go with my old home of Image, because Image is doing so well with books these days and everything like that. So everything that we have, even Faster Than Light, has the augmented reality as well. So every issue of Faster Than Light has 5 augmented reality pages. We'll grab issue 7. We have a 8-bit multiple level game in one of these things. We have all this new stuff that can't be done by anybody
You're the
else
best.
doing the stuff.
Conglomerate enforcers.
How do you think, like, just critically speaking, Faster Than Light is a lot more lighter on its feet, you know, and sort of it moves more than maybe Anomaly does. And, you know,
Well, I mean, it's a
it's a different
$2.99
thing.
book as opposed to a $75.
well, there's that, yeah. No, but I'm saying, like, do you find yourself like
This is the
growing-
app, by the way, for Faster Than Light. Go ahead, Sam.
Or do you find yourself like sort of taking these tools you learned and making them, I guess, a little more, I guess, fun and interactive?
Yeah, I think we've
Like,
got.
I think of Anomaly as like playing a game of World of Warcraft. Like, it's dedication. And this, you can just kind of come in, enjoy, and
Right.
yeah.
Right. And then we have like 2 on the back of every issue. This is when I actually did it right. So we have our voice-acted captain's log.
Public log. Hello, Earth.
It's public
Captain
logs,
William Forrest with
talking
the
about what
Discovery
just happened
here.
in the issue.
See attached files from our recent visit at Artis, a completely aquatic species. They're about 15 feet long and they have been spacefaring for centuries. I know they look a little intimidating, but they only eat tiny creatures, like our plankton. They may come our way for a visit soon. I was excited to see the components for our sister ships being positioned for assembly in orbit. Be a few months out, but it'd be nice to have some familiar faces out there with us. Last I heard, the next ship is to be named the Gagarin. Fitting. And to Mr. Hannon's class at Paradise Canyon School in La Cañada, California, thanks for your essays. I picked Charlie Meyer's essays, What I'd Do If I Were Captain. But remember, Charlie, if we find treasure out here, the captain doesn't get to keep it for themselves. I'm sure some of you will make great captains one day. Forrest out.
The premise of Faster Than Light is tomorrow we get Faster Than Light show. So we're out there way before we're ready to be out there. There's a guy who's being touted on all those talk shows as being the genius who finally cracked Faster Than Light travel. The truth is, he's just the first person to successfully decipher a message we got from an alien civilization in 1940. He finally cracked it. He had all their technological information and a warning. We're done. They're coming for you next. Use this information and get the hell out of there. That would have been fine if we could have deciphered the message in 1940. Now we have our Mars Explorer that we refit with Faster Than Light engines, and it's going out there to find allies, find if the threat is even still out there, because it's been a while, find technology, find anything that might help us save our butts. But it's done all contemporary. Then he also has like there's a secretive council.
We'll be testing the new railguns as soon as we leave the system. Not that I'm looking for a fight, but it's good to know we actually have something to fight with now besides harsh words. Looking forward to Kepler 186. The Aurelian database tells of relics on that world that might help us, and something about ghosts. Forced out.
So when you conceptualize these stories, do you start to think about how to exploit it on this sort of app too, or I mean, how does it all come
We
together?
usually actually the book comes first. This comes
Okay.
after. The meeting is like as soon as I'm done with it, then we go over the book and go, okay,
Where can we play with it?
yeah. We're going to play with it. Would be cool to play with and stuff. So every single one of these guys has 5 interactive pages, like the things that I was just showing.
You're the only guy doing this sort of thing, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
At least at this level. We've been nominated for a bunch of awards lately doing this stuff and everything. The other interesting thing that we do is most of the stuff that we do is 3D based. So we get all this stuff as our collateral. So you can take your character, take him a 3D print. It's another. You can have this one around. He's tough. That's actually from our replicator.
Anybody out there have any questions today? Anybody? Yes.
What was the software tool you said? Did you mention it already that you were using for lessons?
For the augmented reality?
Yeah.
For augmented reality specifically, it's a combination of Vuforia is the software that enables the augmented reality to work off the images and recognize the images and stuff. Unity is what's being used to do the gaming part of it, so the real interactive part is Unity. And then for all the 3D models and stuff that we do, they come from all kinds of places, from our own stuff, from things that we've created, things that we've bought off the shelf, things we've customized, and all those kind of things. Because right now I do a hybrid style where I actually, I've worked with Smith Micro, who does Poser, and they've created a shader that we work together on, which will automatically do holding lines around 3D objects, and then automatically do pure black and white. So I'll go ahead and basically have my 3D model design, I will draw my hashes on it, and then I will render it. So Faster and Lights basically take me now about a week to do one issue.
I feel like when you make comics, it must look like Tony Stark in his lab. You know, like maybe you're like.
There's a lot of yeah. I'll pass around some of it.
Do you actually make comics on that notebook, or do you have a multi-monitor setup and all sorts of stuff?
We've been doing commercials lately, which was kind of weird because we also have our newest thing to come out. This is from Penguin. This is a augmented reality novel. Okay? This is Between Worlds, right? And Between Worlds, we've even amped up the augmented reality some more. Get out of this.
Do you design your logos and everything too, or
We do it in-house. I did not design that logo. You tell which one of our things we're doing.
Hello too.
Got me on that.
Hello too.
Oh, back layer is not my
Hello
favorite.
too.
And then there's a whole bunch of different ones.
Hornets. Temple Guardians.
And then there's even magic training. You pick your character from the book that you want to be. And manga will teach you, because the humans on the in this other world are used as weapons because they can do magic. So they're enslaved and they're used essentially as weapons. And so these two kids, until they get their freedom, they got to learn their magic.
I think you don't even have to read the book; you can just play with it.
So the new Harry Potter book doesn't have this? Forget it. Forget about it.
Yeah. Next one. Doing it the wrong way. There we go. There we go. Lucky kid. And then we also have, once you get your magic down, then you can actually fight the bad guy. I'm not saying I'm good at this game. And then we have all the guys inside as well that are in it. So there are 10 illustrations here. Again, talking about creatively how things change. When this book initially came out, it was going to be, it was designed more like Dinotopia. So it was illustrations every page. Jana Plato, who did Aria, did 212 illustrations for it. We had a full mock-up printed of it, so it'd be like about that big, about 200-something pages, beautiful full-color illustrations. Penguin, because of what they sell, which is a YA novel, it's got to be mostly words, and it can't be too many pictures because they feel that makes it even more of a kiddie book for them. So one day we'll come out with this big, massive 212.
Yeah. Well, they just released the first Harry Potter as an illustrated edition. Like it, I don't know if you saw it at Target. It's like massively illustrated and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so we go that route.
So we have Faster Than Light. Faster Than Light right now. We have our showrunners for the TV show. Yes. We have financing for the TV show. Yes. That puts us at about a 50% mark of series. So we're getting very close on that. And then we have our new books coming out. We have Anomaly 2 that will be coming out in July of next year. Same size as this beast. A little, probably a couple pages shorter. Not quite that big. We have Fury Formula, which is basically a modern spin on the Jekyll and Hyde myth with the LA police detective. And we have Captain Wonder.
What's that?
Captain Wonder is an all ages title. And Captain Wonder is thinking of like the Superman of this world kind of thing, and all of a sudden he's missing and stuff. But the long and short of it is Captain Wonder, who you think is this big, handsome, burly man. He's been the top 10 People magazine, top bachelor for all his years and stuff. Is really just an exoskeleton. And there's been a line of 25 children who have been Captain Wonder. They go inside the suit, and once you're too you have a growth spurt, you cannot be, but you have to pick your next successor. So the person who initially created it was like, no one but a true of heart child can wield this kind of power.
So it's like Shazam meets Pacific Rim. I'm always good at the elevator picture.
Cool. There, so that's Captain Wonder, and that's myself and Brian Haberlin.
Okay, sounds cool.
And then the Fury Formula is myself and my wife, Sally.
So, I mean, you're a man of many ideas, obviously. How do you decide which ones to pursue? What like you have 5 or 6 different things you can do. Like, how do you decide you're going to dedicate 3 years to Anomaly?
Well, I mean, Anomaly was just, we didn't know any better. It's just, this is actually interesting, because this is, if you see Anomaly, you'll see it's all painted and stuff. This is the base art for an Anomaly page. That was actually one of the first Anomaly pages ever done. This is when I did Spawn. It's a Spawn page.
Are those done digitally and then printed and then reworked, or how is that?
Some are.
Okay.
Some are. Some aren't. They both these ones are hybrid, digital, and handwork. So I get to a certain place and whatever. Like, for example, when I did Spawn, I developed a chain brush in Painter, which would actually turn and you change the size of it and have it coming out at you.
Oh, so when you swipe it, it would make the chain
yes.
that he has?
And so if you see that page with a gazillion chains that would take me forever to do normally.
That's cool.
Because, let me see if I can get this thing working again to show some of that stuff. But so that's really kind of all the stuff. I brought a ton of original art and pencils and stuff in different styles so people can see too. Like, I don't know if everyone's seen examples of an old duotone board. So that's got Liquid Developer built into the board. And with one developer, you get one halftone. The second developer, you get another halftone. A lot of people have never seen that stuff before. This is another approach to inking. So instead of inking with the hatching, you're inking with shading instead. That's kind of like what Greg Land does quite often in the work that he does.
You teach too, right?
I teach at
Minnesota or Minneapolis or something like that?
MCAD, Minneapolis College of Art and Design, but I also teach at my digital art tutorials. And we're going to be starting classes down at my studio down in Laguna Niguel.
So people actually go there and go, okay.
And I have these for everybody who's attending. How many people are there? I'll get you the stat. These
Will
are
we know
good.
how to make these like video games that pop out?
These
of
are
books and
good
stuff?
for, I have 24 different tutorials on my site. These are good for free downloads of one each. So take one and pass it on. Here. Take one and pass it to the people. Everybody gets a free $40 tutorial.
Ooh, cool. Nice.
Sure. But yeah, so I teach. I'll be teaching at Adobe Max week after next. Yeah, week after next is that is, and that's down in San Diego. So we do software development stuff, we do apps, we do comics, we do all that kind of stuff. 3D, a lot of 3D and stuff. This will show you so these pages, if too good because this is a black and white version of it. This will show you what the 3D stuff can look like with minimal handwork. So there's like basically each one of those pages probably took about an hour to do. Now there is pre-work.
Oh yeah.
But if you're telling a story with the same characters and the same settings and stuff, you can start getting pretty darn fast. And a lot of people don't know that, like Marvel has been using 3D stuff in their books for years and years and years and years and years. When I was with Marvel Knights, SketchUp, Joe Quesada had an artist doing SketchUp sets of all the major things. So like when I did a Spider-Man book back then, and we had full SketchUp model of Peter Parker's apartment, every room in Peter Parker's apartment, modeled to the level of Post-its on the refrigerator. And you could move around that set, change the lighting on that set, change the focal length and everything, and use it for rep. They have all the helicarriers.
So then the artist still has to draw it, right? They just use it as a reference, or can
or
they just plug
you
it in
could-
as a background?
Yeah, you could render it and you could stick it under it, go over it, ink it. You could do whatever you want to do. Let's see if this is not working for
Do you do thumbnails and everything like most traditional artists do in comics when you're laying out a book, or do you do it through your computer?
So that one I just passed around, these are the layouts for the one I just passed around. I keep them loose and make sure there's a lot of things. The idea is that they have a little bit more of a gesture that way. Come on now. You were working a couple seconds ago.
Yeah, it was. We could turn it around too.
Yeah, we have. It's nice to have it up there.
It would be. You want to try to plug it in through the front of that?
That's a USB.
It doesn't work. Shoot. Technology.
That's working. I'm gonna restart it real quick. Maybe that'll help us. Anyway, so my company, we do new original comics, and that's all we do. And then things go out. You get. I mean, when you do this stuff, the benefit of doing this stuff and doing it your own stuff is you can keep selling parts of it. Like for example, we just had another option on a property I made 20 years ago that I've never done anything with since. But these things can keep generating income for you at the same time, which is really important. How many of you guys are working on your own books right now? How many of you guys have your stuff coming out right now? Yet? Yeah? Also, I mean, to speak about some of the other aspects of, okay, one thing I learned yesterday, which was very interesting. A lot of new creators, and I've learned this the hard way, I've learned this also from example, aren't very good about having the business side of it dealt with. Okay? It's really, really, really important that if you're working with somebody else, let's say you're the writer, they're the artist, or you're hiring the artist, or whatever, you have contracts. You have it clearly spelled out what they own or do not own. Okay? Some of you'll find this interesting. I found the other day that in the suit, in a major comic lawsuit, that I always believed if you had a contract and it said, this is your page rate, no there was no mention of royalties or anything. But if there is not a contract from that publisher saying, specifically signed by you, that you don't get royalties, you're entitled to royalties.
By default.
By default. That is the standard right now.
Wow.
And I think there are very, 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 very few people who know that's the standard. So again, but even talking from you guys at this level, if you're working with somebody else, and what always happens at the end of the day is, you're working with a new artist, right? You've got 3 issues into your create your own thing, and the new artist, Marvel looks at the books that do well from Image or the little indie books, and it's like, okay, that guy, you want to do Spider-Man? Yes, I want to do Spider-Man. And guess what? He turns to you and go, I gotta be leaving, you know. It's like, okay, great. But you have a deal with this person where you gave them 40% of the book, and now you can't afford to continue with that book, you know.
Because you can't give that to another artist.
You can't give it to another artist. So you have to, when you go into these negotiations or make these contracts up with people, one, make sure you never do 50-50 deals, okay? Never, ever.